February 14, 2002, Park City Mountain Resort, Utah. Ryan Wedding carves down the parallel giant slalom course wearing Canada's red and white. He's 20 years old, competing at the Winter Olympics. The crowd watches as he crosses the finish line, placing 24th. Not a medal, but he's an Olympian. His family cheers from the stands. Cameras flash. Reporters ask about his training regimen. This is supposed to be the beginning of something great, the foundation of a career in sports commentary, coaching, or sponsorships. But 6 years later, Ryan Wedding will walk into a completely different kind of meeting. 2008, San Diego, California. Wedding arrives to purchase cocaine. He's brought 2 associates. The deal is set, the money ready. But the dealer waiting for them isn't a trafficker. He's an undercover FBI agent. Agents move in from every direction. Wedding is arrested, handcuffed, and charged with conspiracy to distribute cocaine. In November 2009, a jury finds him guilty. The judge sentences him to 4 years in federal prison. At his sentencing hearing, Wedding stands before the court and talks about his Olympic past. He tells the judge it's his personal goal to rebuild his reputation, to become the person he was on that mountain in Utah. The judge listens, perhaps hoping the young man means it. December 2011. Wedding walks out of federal prison. He served his time. Most people would see this as a second chance, a moment to start fresh, to honor that promise made in the courtroom. But Ryan Wedding has different plans. According to federal prosecutors, within months of his release, Wedding doesn't rebuild his reputation. He builds an empire, a criminal enterprise that will eventually stretch across 4 countries and move 60 tons of cocaine annually through North America. The former Olympian is about to become one of the most wanted men on earth. (2012 to 2023). While most former Olympians fade into quiet lives, coaching young athletes or working desk jobs, Wedding disappears into Mexico. He establishes direct connections with the Sinaloa Cartel, one of the most powerful and violent drug organizations on the planet. No more small-time deals in San Diego, no more middlemen taking cuts. This is the big leagues. The operation is massive and sophisticated. According to investigators, Wedding's network uses long-haul semi-trucks to transport cocaine from Colombia through Mexico, across the U.S. border into Southern California, then up Interstate 5 to distribution networks in Canada. The scale is staggering, hundreds of kilograms per shipment, 2 to 3 tons moving to Canada every single month, 60 tons annually. Wedding operates under multiple aliases designed to obscure his identity. El Jefe, meaning the boss in Spanish. Giant, a reference to both his 6'2" frame and the Olympic giant slalom event. Public enemy, James Conrad King. He moves between safe houses in Mexico, protected by Sinaloa cartel security, insulated from American law enforcement reach. The money flows in torrents. Prosecutors estimate Wedding's organization generates billions of dollars over the years. The cash is laundered through cryptocurrency accounts, moved in digital streams that are harder to trace than physical currency stuffed in duffel bags. Bitcoin, Ethereum, untraceable digital wallets. The former snowboarder has become a financial genius of the underworld. But this level of operation creates problems. Massive shipments draw attention. Competitors challenge territory. Associates skim profits or lose loads. Informants threaten to talk. And Wedding's solution to these problems is always the same: extreme violence. The murders begin piling up across North America. Court documents will later connect Wedding's organization to at least 8 homicides. November 20th, 2023, Caledon, Ontario, Canada. A family rents a house in a quiet neighborhood for a visit. Jagtar Singh Sidhu, 57 years old, and his wife Harbhajan Kaur Sidhu, 55, are spending time with their daughter, 28-year-old Jaspreet Kaur Sidhu. It's an ordinary evening, a family dinner, conversation about ordinary things. That night, assassins break into the home. They move through the house with military precision. They open fire. Jagtar is killed instantly, shot multiple times. Harbhajan dies beside him. Jaspreet is shot 13 times. Miraculously, she survives, but suffers catastrophic, life-altering injuries that will haunt her forever. According to federal prosecutors, Wedding and his second-in-command, Andrew Clark, ordered the hit. They believed 300 kilograms of cocaine worth millions of dollars had been stolen from a shipment passing through Southern California. They wanted revenge on the person they thought was responsible. They wanted to send a message to anyone considering crossing them. They got the wrong house, the wrong family. Jagtar, Harbhajan, and Jasprit Sidhu had absolutely nothing to do with the drug trade. They were completely innocent civilians murdered because assassins followed bad intelligence. Police later connect the Caledon murders to at least 5 other shootings over a 2-week span under an investigation called Project Midnight. The violence is escalating out of control. April 1st, 2024, Niagara Falls, Ontario. Randy Fader, 29 years old, steps out of his house and walks toward his driveway. A gunman emerges from the shadows. One shot to the head. Fader drops dead instantly. According to prosecutors, Wedding's organization ordered the execution. Malik Damian Cunningham, allegedly trained in military tactics in Mexico and armed with 2 Glock handguns provided by Andrew Clark, carries out the hit for $100,000 cash plus expenses. It's a professional assassination, quick and clean. May 18, 2024, Brampton, Ontario. Mohammed Zafar, 39, is found shot in his driveway near Mississauga Road and Sandalwood Parkway. He dies from his wounds before paramedics arrive. Prosecutors allege Wedding ordered the murder over a drug debt, another problem solved with a bullet. But Wedding isn't finished. There's one more target that terrifies him more than any rival trafficker, more than any stolen shipment. Witnesses, people who can testify in court and destroy his empire with their words. January 2025, Medellin, Colombia. A man sits at an outdoor restaurant, enjoying a meal, unaware he's being watched. He's a federal witness, someone who agreed to cooperate with American prosecutors, someone who can testify against Ryan Wedding in the 2024 narcotics case building in Los Angeles. According to prosecutors, Wedding believes if this witness dies, the entire case against him will collapse. The charges will be dismissed. He'll remain untouchable in Mexico, so he places a bounty on the man's head, offering serious money to anyone who can eliminate the problem permanently. Wedding's organization uses a Canadian website called The Dirty News to post photographs of the witness and his wife. The images are meant to help identify them, to make them easier for assassins to hunt down and kill. It's a public hit order disguised as gossip. The assassin follows the witness to the restaurant in Medellin. He approaches the table, raises a handgun, fires 5 times directly into the witness's head. The man dies instantly, slumped over his meal. Panicked diners scatter. The assassin disappears into the crowd. Wedding is catastrophically wrong about the legal consequences. The murder doesn't make his charges disappear. Instead, it adds horrifying new ones and intensifies the international manhunt. November 2025. A new federal superseding indictment is filed in the Central District of California. Wedding is now charged with orchestrating the Columbia murder. 18 other people are charged alongside him, including his Ontario-based criminal defense lawyer. Prosecutors accuse the lawyer, Deepak Paradkar, of giving Wedding catastrophically bad legal advice. According to the indictment, Paradkar told Wedding that killing the witness would result in criminal charges being dropped, that without testimony the case would fall apart. Paradkar allegedly used his position as a lawyer to help Wedding access drug transport networks and gather intelligence after police seizures. He's charged with participating in a continuing criminal enterprise. The lawyer is later arrested and released on $5.25 million bail, one of the highest amounts in Canadian history for a drug-related case. The web of arrests continues expanding across North America. Andrew Clark, Wedding's alleged co-leader and enforcer, is captured in October 2024 in a dramatic operation by the Mexican Navy in Guadalajara. Social media video shows heavily armed troops in pickup trucks descending on a shopping mall restaurant. Customers dive for cover. Clark is dragged out in handcuffs, extradited to the United States to face 8 felony charges, including murder. Investigators also target the money launderers. A Toronto jeweler named Roland Sokolovsky is questioned in court. Prosecutors allege he acted as a de facto banker and money launderer for Wedding's organization through his downtown business, Diamond Czar, located at Queen Street East and Victoria. Cryptocurrency was converted to cash, diamonds, and luxury goods, then back to cryptocurrency in an endless cycle. By late 2024, law enforcement has arrested 36 people connected to Wedding's organization across multiple countries. They've seized over 1 ton of cocaine, 3 firearms, dozens of rounds of ammunition, $255,000 in US currency, and more than $3.2 million in cryptocurrency. But they still don't have the man at the top. Ryan Wedding remains hidden somewhere in Mexico, protected by cartel security, untouchable. March 6, 2025. The FBI makes a major announcement. Ryan Wedding is added to the 10 most wanted fugitives list. He's number 15, replacing another dangerous fugitive who was captured. The State Department offers a reward of $10 million for information leading to his arrest and conviction. Wedding is described as extremely violent, believed to be responsible for murdering numerous people abroad. His photograph is distributed to law enforcement agencies worldwide. Wanted posters appear in post offices, police stations, and border crossings across North America. The FBI dubs the investigation Operation Giant Slalom, a darkly ironic reference to his Olympic event. Press conferences are held. Media outlets run stories contrasting footage of young Ryan Wedding at the 2002 Olympics with his current wanted poster. FBI Director Kash Patel doesn't mince words during the announcement. Ryan Wedding is a modern-day El Chapo. He is a modern-day Pablo Escobar. The comparison isn't hyperbole or exaggeration for the cameras. According to the FBI's detailed investigation, Wedding's organization ships approximately 60 metric tons of cocaine through Southern California annually. That's 60,000 kilograms. At wholesale prices of around $30,000 per kilogram, we're talking about $1.8 billion in product every single year flowing through his network. November 19, 2025. The State Department increases the reward to $15 million, making it one of the highest bounties ever offered for a drug trafficker. The pressure intensifies. Tips flood in from across the globe. Most are dead ends, but investigators follow every credible lead. Law enforcement across multiple countries coordinates the hunt. The FBI, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Mexican Federal Police, Colombian authorities, and officials from the Dominican Republic all share intelligence. They're tracking financial transactions through international banking networks. They're monitoring encrypted communications. They're following associates who might lead them to Wedding's location. But Wedding remains hidden in Mexico, protected by the Sinaloa cartel's sophisticated security apparatus. He's been on the run for over a decade, operating his empire from safe houses, never staying in one location too long. January 22, 2026, Mexico City. After years of evading capture, after ordering multiple murders, after building a billion-dollar drug empire, Ryan Wedding makes a decision that stuns investigators. According to Mexican law enforcement officials, Wedding walks into the United States Embassy and surrenders voluntarily. The exact circumstances remain murky. FBI Director Patel refuses to comment on specific details when pressed by reporters at a news conference. Was it a tip from an informant that led authorities to him? Did someone betray him for the $15 million reward? Will that massive bounty be paid out? Those questions remain unanswered, buried in classified briefings. What we know for certain is this. On Thursday night, January 22, 2026, Ryan Wedding is taken into custody by American authorities in Mexico. January 23, 2026, Ontario International Airport, California. An airliner taxis across the tarmac in the early morning hours. FBI agents in tactical gear surround the aircraft. The rear door opens. Ryan Wedding emerges in handcuffs. He's wearing jeans, a gray sweatshirt, black vest, and black baseball cap pulled low. His face is expressionless, emotionless, as agents lead him down the stairs and across the pavement toward waiting vehicles. The FBI releases video footage of the moment to news outlets worldwide. The man who once represented Canada at the Olympics, who built a transnational cocaine empire responsible for billions in drug trafficking, who ordered the murders of innocent people, is now in American custody. At the news conference held on the tarmac, FBI Director Patel stands surrounded by other law enforcement officials. This individual and his organization and the Sinaloa cartel poured narcotics into the streets of North America and killed too many of our youth and corrupted too many of our citizens. Akil Davis, Assistant Director of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office, addresses the victims and their families directly. Though the organization's victims may never be the same, today they get the justice that they sought for so long. Commissioner Mike Duheme calls it a great day for public safety in Canada. The capture of Ryan Wedding after a years-long investigation demonstrates the importance of international collaboration and the success that can be achieved when law enforcement agencies share intelligence across borders. January 26, 2026. Federal Courthouse, Santa Ana, California. Ryan Wedding appears before U.S. Magistrate Judge John D. Early wearing a tan jail jumpsuit and shackles. A maple leaf tattoo on his right arm serves as a permanent reminder of his Olympic past. He pleads not guilty to all 17 federal charges, including running a continuing criminal enterprise, multiple murders, and international drug trafficking. The judge orders him held without bail, citing the severity of the charges and the danger he poses to public safety. If convicted, Wedding faces mandatory life in prison with no possibility of parole. Outside the courthouse, his lawyer Anthony Colombo pushes back against the government's narrative. When asked about FBI Director Patel comparing Wedding to El Chapo and Pablo Escobar, Colombo fires back. Does he look like El Chapo to you? No, he's a former Olympic athlete, and I don't think he's who they claim him to be. Colombo also disputes the Mexican government's surrender story, insisting Wedding was apprehended, not voluntarily surrendered. The lawyer predicts the trial will be delayed at least 6 months due to the massive volume of evidence involving 18 defendants across 4 countries. The tentative trial date is set for March 24, 2026, with a status conference scheduled for February 11th. Legal experts expect significant delays given the complexity of the case. Ryan Wedding is 44 years old. He sits in a federal detention facility in California, awaiting trial that will determine whether he spends the rest of his life behind bars. The FBI is still seeking other members of Wedding's organization. Andrew Clark, his alleged second-in-command, awaits trial after being captured in Guadalajara. Deepak Paradkar, the lawyer accused of helping Wedding, was released on $5.25 million bail. Others remain fugitives. 24 years ago, Ryan Wedding stood on a mountain in Utah, representing his country at the Olympics. A young athlete with his whole life ahead of him, with the discipline and drive to compete at the highest level. Today, he sits in a jail cell awaiting trial for running a billion-dollar cocaine empire and ordering the murders of innocent people. The same mental toughness that made him an Olympian will now be tested in a different arena, a federal courtroom where the stakes are life imprisonment. But for the families of his victims, no amount of mental toughness can bring back their loved ones. No trial can erase the trauma. No sentence can undo the damage caused by a former Olympian who traded snowboards for cocaine shipments and turned violence into business strategy. The trial will reveal the full scope of Wedding's criminal empire. When it finally happens, Ryan Wedding will face a jury and answer for every decision that led him from Olympic glory to the FBI's most wanted list.